I thought saying for you would make it generous. I thought if I wrapped the ugliest sentence of my life in care and bullet points and a calm voice, he would hear research instead of rejection. I told myself I was being evolved, ethical, practical. I told myself the lie you tell when you want to do something ruinous. It's actually for the other person. I've been reading about open relationships, I said, which is a lot like saying I've been reading about parachutes while standing in a perfectly good plane. Not because I'm unhappy, I added quickly, because I wasn't. Because I want us to be honest about desires so we can, I don't know, last. I had a Notion doc. I had tabs open about STI testing windows and safer sex agreements and the difference between parallel and kitchen table poly. I had a list of boundaries and rules like I was drafting a lease for hearts. I had highlighted words like compersion even though it still felt like a word you order at a cafe. I had told myself I was doing this for Nick, my boyfriend of 2.5 years who buys farmers market strawberries like they're trophies. Because he's always been the more social one, the one people flirt with at parties, the one bartenders smile at. I convinced myself we needed to have the conversation so we could stay modern. What I did not tell him was that my ex had texted me "miss you" 3 weeks earlier and I wanted permission to answer without being the villain. Nick listened. He has a listening face he wears when he's being kind on purpose. Eyebrows a little up, mouth soft, the line between his eyes relaxed. We were at his dining table, a thrifted oval with a wobble we kept promising to fix. He had cooked, of course. Crispy potatoes, roasted chicken with lemon, a salad that was actually assembled, not dumped. He'd lit a candle that smelled like sage and rain. He had poured me wine into the larger glass because he knows I think the small ones make wine taste like medicine. I ate a bite of chicken that suddenly turned to plaster in my mouth and started my pitch, because that's what you do with things you're afraid to say. Rehearse them until they sound like slides. I love you, I began, which was true. And I love us. True. And I also think we should at least talk about what it would look like if we were less closed. I winced at my own cowardice around the word open. He put his fork down. He said nothing, the way people say nothing when they decide whether to be confused or betrayed. I don't mean cheating, I rushed on. I mean honest. I mean ethical non-monogamy. I mean like if either of us ever felt drawn to someone, we'd have a container. I heard myself and hated the jargon. Container sounded like Tupperware for feelings. Is there someone? He asked, and I loved him then and also wanted to hide under the table because he skipped the theory and aimed straight at the truth. No, I lied and then panicked and told the lesser truth. I mean, Eric texted me. But I didn't reply. And I don't want him. It made me realize how much pressure we put on each other to be everything, you know? And you're so charming. People are always flirting with you. I thought maybe you'd want the freedom to flirt back sometimes without it being a betrayal. For you. For me, he repeated, like I'd handed him a sweater that was actually a bomb. He smiled without warmth, the expression he uses when a client says something wild, and he's trying to decide whether to laugh. You want to open our relationship for me. I want us to be honest about desire, I insisted, hating how I sounded like a podcast. I made a list. It's not a free-for-all. I slid my laptop to him, the Notion doc glowing with its earnest headers. Primary partners, us. No mutual friends or co-workers. No sleepovers on weeknights. Barrier protection always, testing every 3 months, full transparency. No exes unless we both agree. Debriefs and check-ins, veto power. Date night protected, vacations protected. No more than 1 new person per quarter. Don't embarrass each other. Ever. I watched him read. His face didn't move much. He has lawyer eyes when he's concentrating, even though he's a high school math teacher. He got to veto power and looked up. You want veto power over other people's bodies, he said, not unkind, just accurate. I want us to feel safe, I said. I don't want to lose you. You don't want to lose me, he repeated, and this time the words were tender. Then he closed the laptop gently the way you close something you don't want to break, pushed it back to me and said, I'm not interested. That's okay, I said, relief flooding me like a reprieve. We can just drop it. I just wanted to talk. He nodded once, slow. I'm also not interested in staying with someone who wants this, he said, and the floor tilted. Wait, I said, too loud, too fast. I didn't say I want it. I said we should talk about it. For you. Please stop saying for me, he said. His voice was still gentle. If you want to try dating other people, say I want to. Own that. Don't hand me the loaded gift and attach a vow that says I did it because I love you. Because I love you means you don't put me in a position where the only way to keep you is to agree to something that makes me a stranger to myself. I reached for his hand. He let me hold it, and that mercy almost destroyed me. Nick, I said. I was scared to even bring it up. I didn't want to hurt you. I don't know. Everyone around me is talking about it. It's like a thing now, being ethical. I thought we could be modern. I'm not a museum exhibit, he said. I'm not trying to be modern. I'm trying to be yours. He pulled his hand back, not dramatically, just enough to make the point physical. If you want to be mine, be mine. If you want to be yours and also someone else's sometimes, that's your right. But those are different lives. I won't live the second one. I started crying then, the ugly crying I reserve for bathrooms and the inside of my car. I don't want to lose you, I said again, as if wanting were a lever I could pull to reverse a decision I had already made when I opened my mouth. You already introduced loss into the room, he said, and I hate him for being able to make grief sound like math. I didn't walk in here tonight thinking about contingency plans. You did. I didn't bring another person into our kitchen. You did. You can't trick me by calling it homework. It wasn't fair. It was also the fairest thing anyone has ever said to me. He stood, took his plate to the sink, rinsed it, set it in the rack like the reliable man he is, and said, I'm going to pack a bag and stay at Ben's tonight. Tomorrow, we can figure out logistics. Logistics sounded like an anvil. Nick, please, I said. I'm not asking you to agree right now. I just wanted to talk. I heard you, he said. And I'm responding. He paused in the doorway, the candle throwing weird shadows on his face. If what you want is monogamy with me, then your desire to talk about other options is a problem we could fix with honesty and time. But it doesn't sound like that's what you want. It sounds like you want permission. I won't be the person who gives you permission to break us and calls it growth. He left the room. I listened to drawers open and close, the soft zip of his overnight bag, the click of the front door latching. I sat at the table with our candle burning and my Notion dock glowing and felt like I had set up a science fair experiment and accidentally lit the gym on fire. In the morning, he texted me a list that looked like a checklist for a move out even though we were not living together. We had never combined leases. We kept our separate apartments because it made sense for our commutes and because I liked having my plants and he liked having his massive bookshelf that he pretends he didn't organize by color. But our lives were layered over each other like tracing paper. Mine had his toothbrush and an extra hoodie, his had my dumb lavender oat milk and the jade roller he pretends not to use. I'll swing by your place to drop off my key at 6. Please leave mine on the hook by the door. I'll grab it then. I'll bring your jeans and the vintage band tee you keep accidentally forgetting. Can I pick up my Dutch oven next week? I'll text first. I'll cancel the Mendocino cabin for Memorial Day. You can keep the wine for your girls' trip. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to be clear. I wrote, can we talk tonight? He replied, I think we said a lot. At work, my brain did that thing where it refuses to accept a new fact. I built a spreadsheet for a marketing calendar and typed the month heading as Janxiety and didn't notice for 5 minutes. My coworker Ollie asked if I'd ever used Field, the dating app for people into things, and I wanted to laugh and also vomit. I had been 3 days ago, the friend telling her we should all be brave enough to name our needs. Now I wanted to crawl inside a monogamy blanket and never speak again. I texted my best friend, Tasha, a screenshot of Nick's checklist. She replied, he's not wrong. Tasha is merciless in ways that save me. You've been talking about Eric for months, she added. Own that you wanted to answer him. I told her I didn't want to date Eric. I just wanted to know that if desire knocked on our window someday, I could open it and let the breeze in without the house collapsing. Sounds like you wanted to open a window while he was sleeping, she wrote back. That's not a breeze. That's a draft. I went home after work and sat on the floor with the pile of his things, which was smaller than it should have been for a man who had colonized so much of my heart. Hoodie, charger, a paperback with a receipt for an iced Americano tucked like a flag, a pair of socks he'd left under my couch, a toothbrush I'd bought him on a random CVS run because love is mostly errands. I put his hoodie in a paper bag, like contraband. I put his toothbrush in a Ziploc because I have never known how to throw away someone's mouth. I put my key on the hook of his door and taped a note to it because I am, at my core, a woman who pretends bracelets of words can keep people from leaving. I wrote, "I love you. I don't need other people." I panicked. "I'm sorry." Then I sat on his doormat like a vagrant until he texted that he'd taken the key and the bag and we should give each other space. I said okay. He wrote, "I meant what I said last night. I'm not interested in this model. Please respect that." For a week, I tried to respect that and failed in little ways you could see from space. I wrote him 3 unsent emails titled Clarification, Reframe, and Last Try. In clarification, I told him I didn't want to date anyone else. I just wanted to pre-decide how we'd handle it if temptation ever walked in wearing a cologne that smelled like bad decisions. In reframe, I tried to get myself to admit that I did want to answer Eric, but I also wanted to come home to Nick. In last try, I said the quietest thing out loud, that I was scared of being bored because my parents' model of marriage looked like someone slowly dimming a light over 25 years until they were eating dinner in the dark out of habit.
I didn't send any of them.
Instead, I made a therapy appointment.
Dr.
Ahmed has patient eyes and a chair that doesn't understand how many decisions it has witnessed. I told her I asked to open our relationship, for him, and he left. She didn't let me keep the phrase. "You asked to open the relationship," she said. Full stop.
Why?
I told her about Eric's text and the podcast episodes and my coworker's polycule that has a chore chart and a group chat called CPR, Communication, Poly Repair. I told her about Nick's face when he read Veto Power. I told her about the moment in my pitch where I realized I wanted to be the person who wouldn't blow up her life and also wanted to be the person who could flirt without inventorying guilt like receipts.
2 desires, she said.
Not wrong. Just incompatible if he says no. She asked me what I thought ethical meant in front of non-monogamy. I said it meant consent, communication, care. Does lying to yourself about who it's for fit? She asked, making it sound like a math proof. We can analyze this as a morals problem or as a logistics problem, she added. The morals are between you and your values. The logistics are simple. He doesn't want it.
You do, or you wouldn't have asked.
The relationship ends. I didn't want it, I said, hearing the whining child in my voice and hating her. I wanted to talk. You wanted to buy an option, she said, and I almost applauded because she had chosen the right word. He is a buy and hold man, she added. That's not wrong either. I downloaded Field because I am nothing if not predictable in a crisis. The first profile I saw declared kitchen table poly, no unicorn hunting, nested with my anchor partner, seeking spicy friends. I stared at the language like it was a door code. The second was a couple who looked like they would name their house. The third was a woman with bangs and a septum ring who wrote compersion enthusiast sparkles. I closed the app and cried because I knew exactly how ridiculous I was being, knocking on a door I didn't even want to walk through just because the door I wanted had closed. Eric texted again, "Hey stranger." Eric is a mistake I dated for 6 months at 23. He is charming and allergic to doing the dishes. He looks like summer and regret. I typed, "I'm not available," and deleted it. I typed, "Hey," and deleted it. I typed nothing and blocked him because apparently I am only capable of good decisions when the alternative is that humiliating. Nick posted an Instagram story of a hike. He rarely posts. He wrote nothing, just a picture of a trail with light that looked like forgiveness. I wanted to reply, to ask which trail, to pretend we were still each other's person. I did not. I did send him a factual text 2 days later. "Your Dutch oven is in my hall closet. Wednesday 6 works." He replied with a thumbs up. The violence of a thumbs up should be studied. When he came to get it, he did not come inside. He stood in the doorway in a jacket I bought him and looked like someone I had once convinced to get on a Ferris wheel with me. "How are you?" he asked like a neighbor. I said, "Bad." He nodded. "I'm not trying to hurt you," he said, and I believe him. I just won't sell myself a story where I'm okay with being plan A plus a rotating plan B. That's not a moral judgment on anyone who wants that. It's a boundary. He lifted the Dutch oven as if it weighed nothing and carried it away, and I held the door frame like it was the only thing keeping me upright. My friends divided themselves without drama. No one sent out a survey. People just quietly decided their proximity. Ben and his girlfriend texted me less because they're his people, and that is how loyalty works when it's healthy. Tasha took me on walks and bought me cinnamon rolls and said, "Stop government funding Eric in your head." My mother, to my shock, said, "I am proud of him," when I told her the true shape of the conversation. "I wish I had left when your father suggested we see other people when you were 5, she said. "He meant I want to see other people while you keep the house running. Don't be your mother." I slept badly for 2 weeks. Sleep is a committee in my brain, and grief gave everyone a microphone. I stopped pretending the Notion doc was a good faith effort and admitted it was a shield I'd held up to avoid saying the sentence that mattered. I wanted to know if there was a world where I could have Nick and also maintain a small, managed access to chaos. I thought saying for you would make it sound like love instead of fear. He refused the gift, which is the most loving thing he could have done for himself, and maybe even for me, because I would have ruined us slowly if he had said yes. On a Friday night when I would normally be at Nick's, watching him rearrange the spice rack like it was a chessboard, I went to dinner with coworkers. Sarah in HR, not my HR, different company, less terrifying, told us that at her old startup, the founders tried to institute a relationship disclosure form, and it backfired spectacularly. People listed openish, sometimes open, closed for now, and lawyers got stomachaches. "You can't manage desire like PTO," she said. "It doesn't accrue predictably." I laughed too hard and went home to my clean bed that smelled like a hotel for one and slept for 6 hours uninterrupted for the first time since the candle and the chicken and the pitch. Nick sent me a final text on Sunday. "I'm going to step back from communication for a while. I wish you well. Please don't contact me unless it's about logistics." The clean cut I deserved. I wrote back, "I understand. I meant it like a vow." I deleted Field. I unblocked Eric and then reblocked him, which is not progress so much as repetition done on purpose. Here is what I learned, not from a podcast or a book, but from the way my chest felt when I put his key on the hook. When you ask to open a relationship, you should mean it. You should mean it even if the answer is no. You should be willing to lose the person you love because your desire for a different structure is bigger than your desire for that person exclusively. If you want the option but not the consequences, you want fantasy, not an arrangement. You want applause for being enlightened without any of the choreography of ethics. You want to do what I did. Offload the responsibility for your longing onto the person who loves you and call it generosity. I am not anti-open. My friend Cal and his partner have been non-monogamous for 5 years, and their relationship is so sturdy it feels like a porch. They do all the boring parts no one puts on Instagram. Google Calendar invites with initials, recurring reminders for quarterly tests, one night a week reserved just for each other without exception or resentment, a shared doc called Feelings Log that sounds unbearable and is apparently a miracle. They did not get there by one person saying for you. They got there by both of them saying for us and meaning, even if it's hard. I said for you, and meant, I want a hall pass I can pretend is an act of love. Nick wins in this story. If the word wins makes you flinch because relationships shouldn't be competitions, I agree. But in the currency of self-respect, he came out ahead. He didn't yell. He didn't send a group text telling everyone what I proposed. He didn't weaponize my fear. He listened, declined, and left before we wasted any more of each other's time trying to make shapes fit. He'll find someone who hears I want monogamy as a relief and not a relic. He'll teach math and come home to a kitchen that smells like lemon and stay with someone who doesn't bring debris into the house and call him modern. And I will do the work of either aligning my desires with someone who matches them or learning how to tell the truth before I open my mouth with a proposal shaped like a spreadsheet. My Notion doc still exists. I didn't delete it. Not because I think I'll use it, but because it reminds me who I was that night. A woman who thought bullet points could save her from having to say her real one out loud, who thought she could put a bow on her fear and call it a gift. When I open it now, the line that undoes me is not veto power or no exes unless we both agree. It's don't embarrass each other. Ever. I wrote that as a rule for what would happen if we dated other people. The person I embarrassed was Nick, at our table, with a candle and a chicken and a pitch that pretended to be for him and was always for me. 2 months later, I saw him across the street at the farmer's market. He was holding strawberries like trophies. A woman I didn't recognize stood next to him, laughing at something the vendor said. He looked happy. Not Instagram happy. Grocery store on a Saturday happy. He saw me. He lifted the basket of fraction like a toaster's nod. I smiled and lifted my own bunch of kale like a flag. We didn't cross the street. We didn't know each other that. I went home, made a salad that was actually assembled not dumped, and ate it at my wobbly table. I resisted the urge to fix the wobble alone, because some things require 2 people holding steady at once. If you are me right now, reading this and drafting your own sweet little Notion doc with headers and rules, and the word compersion highlighted because you think vocabulary can save you, listen, if what you want is to open your relationship, ask for it. Own it. Be ready to lose what you have so you can build what you want on purpose. If what you want is permission to flirt with chaos while keeping your good person in your pocket, call it what it is, a plan to break someone you love in slow motion. Don't say for you unless you mean for you, I am choosing monogamy because I want nothing more than you. Don't say for us unless you're really willing to do the boring calendar work of us when 3 becomes a scheduling problem. I wish I had said on that lemon chicken night, I'm scared, Nick. I wish I had said, sometimes I want the high of being wanted by someone new and I'm ashamed of that and I'm worried one day it will make me stupid. And can we talk about what guardrails we need so that when I get stupid, I don't torch the house? That would have been a conversation. That would have been honest. Maybe we would have ended anyway. Maybe not. But I wouldn't have to live with the knowledge that I framed my fear as a favor and handed it to the most honorable person I have ever loved. He dumped me before I finished the pitch. He didn't need to read my rules. He didn't need to debate a glossary. He knew what his heart wanted, and it wasn't one new person per quarter. It was me or not me.
I made it not me.
The kindness is that he didn't try to teach me a lesson. He just lived his, in a world where love is either a door you close together or a hallway where drafts will always find you. I stood in the hallway. He stepped inside and shut the door. I hope it stays warm in there. I hope someone is in that kitchen making him lemons taste like luck. I hope she never has to learn the word compersion off a podcast. I hope when she asks him a hard thing, she says it like a person who knows she is not asking for permission to break what is whole, but for help carrying something heavy. I hope I become that person for someone else, or for myself, before I memorize any more terms I don't deserve to use. For now, I have a table with a wobble and a calendar I can fill with people I don't lie to, especially me. I have strawberries that taste like trophies and a rule that fits on a post-it. If it's for you, you won't have to sell it. If you're selling it, it's for you. Say that out loud before you set a candle and a plate and a bomb on the table and call it dinner.